On this week's episode of Gambling Feud, as the great John Ronstein says, it is March. We have the March Madness preview show with the recurring guest, Zach Polk. We are talking every single March Madness game. So tune in. You need help filling out a bracket. Me, DJ, and Zach got you covered. It is going to be a great episode. Before we get started, we are very excited to have a sponsor for the first time, a partnership, if you will. And we're very excited to share that with you. So be sure to stay tuned as we announce that result. It's going to be very, very exciting. We got a lot of great stuff ahead at the Coda Sports Gambling Network. We're very excited to share it with you. We're very excited to get with the gambling community more into this partnership with this new company. We're very, very excited for it. We look forward to letting you hear about it. And if you're ready, let's get right to it. Locked and loaded. Let's have a show. Absolutely. And we won't hold you to it. But what if I told you there is a sports betting platform that's legal in 45 different states, including Minnesota? Well, we're very excited. The Coda Sports Gambling Network has partnered with a company called Better Edge. So basically how Better Edge works is, let's say, for example, DJ really likes Iowa -1, and he puts $10 down on it. Polk is like, you know what? I really like Auburn +1, puts $10 on it. Boom. That works as an exchange. So it's not sports gambling. It is a sports marketplace, which makes it's perfectly legal in all states. It also, one thing I like about Better Edge is the lines aren't juiced. Every spread is either -100, +100. So you get a lot of value when you place an order. They have several different competitions like FanDuels. They have Battle Royales. They have Survivor. They have Chasers. And it also incorporates social media. If I want to share a play I got, I just make a memo, I tweet it and I put it out, and all of my followers on Better Edge can see it. It's a marketplace. It's a social media. And like I said, it's legal in all 45 states because it works as an exchange. It is not a sports book, which is one thing I like about Better Edge. DJ, what are your thoughts about Better Edge? I know you've been on the platform about as long as I have. Just overall thoughts that maybe I didn't mention about it.
Yeah, Better Edge really just summarizes everything you want with sports betting. You have it in any state, so that's awesome. You know, you don't have the government telling you what you can and can't do. I love that. Hands off. And then on top of it, you're going up against somebody else. You're not going up against the house, you know, so it's a user-to-user base. And then you have the social media aspect of it. You know, it's kind of like a Twitter feed almost on Better Edge of everyone releasing their plays. And then they have the coolest competitions. There's so many different competitions and so many styles. Some are like Battle Royale, Chase the Leader. Like there's so many different types of things you can do on Better Edge. It really has it all. And I think it's kind of the next wave of what sportsbook's going to develop into. You know, I think we're on the first wave of just getting it legal in some states. And Better Edge is kind of the next wave where you're combining Twitter, you're combining the betting aspect, and you're combining like competitions that you see like on ESPN or CBS or all that. Because we have, I don't know if you're going to mention it, but the March Madness bracket, obviously.
Yep.
Is something we can do on there. You can't do that on DraftKings. Like you can't host a contest like that. So Better Edge really does it all. And so, yeah, they're growing. And if you want to get in on the early stages, now is the time. It's a super fun, super convenient app in all states.
Absolutely. No, very well said, DJ. So go to their website, www.betteredge.com, and contact any of the coder cappers for a referral code. And if you use one of the cappers referral codes, you get $20 added to your order as well. You get $20 in your account, which basically we are hosting a March Madness bracket challenge, and we're hosting a March Madness first round betting challenge. So you use one of the referral codes, it puts $20 in your account. You have an entry fee already into that first round betting contest. So again, we love Better Edge. Shout out to Better Edge. We're really excited to work with them and for many competitions down the road. But fellas, if you're ready, let's get right to this betting. All right, now we are on to the South region. We're going to start off with, we got to start off the 1-16 matchup between Alabama against the winner of Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Southeast Missouri State. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 1:45 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Alabama won the regular season and conference tournament in the SEC to get the automatic bid. Meanwhile, Texas A&M Corpus Christi won the Southland regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. And Southeast Missouri State won the Ohio Valley Conference Tournament as a 5 seed, defeating 4 seed Tennessee State, 1 seed Morehead State, and 2 seed Tennessee Tech to win the tournament. Ohio Valley tournament to get the automatic bid. No line right now as we await the results of the playing game right now with about 9 minutes left. Texas A&M Corpus Christi is up 8. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But Polk, start us off. What do you got for this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's Alabama. They are one of the heavy favorites of the whole tournament. We've only seen one number one seed fall ever in the tournament, and it was Virginia just a couple of years ago, or what feels like a couple of years ago, was probably like 5 years ago or something. But we've only seen it happen once. I don't think it's going to happen here. Obviously, Alabama is really good. They've had a lot of controversy the last couple of weeks, a couple of months, but it hasn't really affected them on the floor very much. I think it's Brandon Miller is the one who's in it was in the situation there, and he's played incredible, throughout the controversy. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a game, no matter who wins this. But you never know. I don't know. Like you said, the spread isn't there. I like to take the underdogs in these spreads sometimes in the 16 versus 1, just because the spreads are usually pretty wide, and in tournament games, the underdog can kind of hang in there a little bit. If it's anything under 10 points, I probably would take Alabama, but I think Alabama is pretty clearly one of the favorites of the tournament, so I don't think they're going to have too much of a problem here.
Yeah, so every one of these panels needs a vibes guy. Kyle's a numbers guy. Polk is, I'm going to say, an in-between guy. He's both numbers and vibes. I'm strictly a vibes guy. Alabama is playing so well right now. They ran through the SEC and they looked good doing it. I don't know, they have some. Honestly think the off the court issues almost made them better. Like, it united them as a team. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm taking Alabama to cover. I think they're going to just slap them. Their athletes are just so much better. I hate to say it, it's so chalk. I hate it, and I hate Bama, but I also love Bama in this tournament.
Okay, very good. Yeah, like DJ said, I'm a numbers guy, so I'm going to throw some numbers out here at you guys. Alabama is top 5 in the entire country in points per game with 82.2. They're the top rebounding team. They're hauling in 44.2 points per game. They're holding opponents to 37.4% from the field and 27.9% from 3. I mean, that's pretty dang good stats all around. Now, I'm watching this game. Texas A&M Corpus Christi very likely going to win. I think they played really good basketball. I said it in our group chat, and I mean, like Zach said, anything under 10, he'd take Alabama. I think anything under 20, and I'm going to take Alabama. If it gets above 20, maybe I'll consider going the 16 seed. I like Alabama a lot in this game, and like those guys have alluded to, I think they're going to go very, very far in the tournament. So I am going to ride Alabama, I think, in this game. All right, let's transition now to the 8-9 matchup between Maryland and West Virginia. That game being played before the Alabama, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, or Southeast Missouri State game at 11:45 on CBS. It's actually the very first game of the tournament. This game is. Maryland finished the regular season 21-12 overall, 11-9 in the conference. They have quality wins over Miami, Indiana, and Purdue to secure them that at-large spot. Meanwhile, West Virginia finished the regular season 19-14 overall and 7-11 in the Big 12. They have quality wins over Pittsburgh, TCU, and Kansas State. Right now, the line, these lines are all via Better Edge, by the way. Shout out to Better Edge once again. Line right now on Better Edge, we have Maryland -2 and an over-under of 137.5. DJ, start us off.
Yeah, so when I do the March Madness, I like to kind of rank conferences. It's just my strategy. It's how I like to do it. And Big 12's number 1. Big 10 down the list. Big 10 matches up really well against each other, but tend to be less athletic than the Pac-12, the SEC, and the Big 12. Big 12 is my number 1 conference. So in any type of matchup where it's two close teams, I'm going Big 12 all day. I'm going West Virginia. Just a little thing I saw, West Virginia is 3-0 as a neutral site favorite this season. I don't know how much that means, but I think West Virginia, I think the Big 12, getting through the gauntlet of the Big 12 means everything. West Virginia will secure this victory and will cover this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, DJ. I actually have in my notes Big 12 better than Big 10. That's exactly what I put in my notes. I really like West Virginia's guard, Eric Stevenson. He's shooting 38% from 3, 15.5 points per game, but they have 3 other starters with him also scoring double figures. This is a well-rounded West Virginia team. Yeah, Maryland, they're a very solid defensive team, but I don't think they're prepared for this offense that West Virginia brings. I'm right there with you, DJ. I'm also going to take West Virginia -2.
Oh, it looks like it's West Virginia +2, Kyle.
Yes, you're right.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, yeah,
Yep.
No, I'm on the same boat there. West Virginia +2 there. Maryland, I look at the kind of the same thing as DJ with conferences. A little bit of a gripe I have is my Nebraska Cornhuskers were 16-16 this year. West Virginia 19-14. Nebraska didn't even make the NIT. West Virginia is a 9 seed in the tournament. So you can see just there how much not only us as fans, but also the committee views the Big 12 versus the Big 10. You know, Nebraska does have a win over Maryland, and they're an 8 seed in the tournament. So, you know, the Big 10 just wasn't great this year. And West Virginia, they always like to play that up style, fast basketball with Coach Huggins, I believe it is, there at West Virginia. So I would take them +2 as well. And I don't know if I would go over in this one. It looks like it's 137.5. Maryland is probably going to try to slow it down a little bit and make it an ugly game against West Virginia. But I'd definitely take West Virginia to beat Maryland here in the first round.
All right. Very good. I think BRS is going to listen to this, DJ, and he's going to, if West Virginia loses, he's going to come back on this podcast is what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is the opening game of the tournament. And as both a Maryland and a West Virginia fan, that is the worst case scenario because or best case scenario, because either starts you off and you're pumped up for March Madness, or it just ruins March Madness to watch your team lose the opening game.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know both Maryland and West Virginia fans somehow. I don't know how. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good game though. I'm not gonna lie, I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. But yeah, let's hope West Virginia wins.
Yep, absolutely. Alex probably didn't like you hearing that out of you, DJ, but
he's a big Terps guy. But I had to do it to him. I had to bring him some brutal honesty.
Big Torps guy, Alex.
Torps.
All right, gentlemen, let's transition now to the 5-12 matchup between San Diego State and College of Charleston. That game being played Thursday at 2:10 Central Time on CBS. San Diego State won the Mountain West regular season and conference tournament to get their automatic bid. Meanwhile, College of Charleston won the Colonial Athletic Association conference tournament conference tournament, to get the automatic bid. Line right now on Better Edge, we got San Diego State -4.5. and an over-under of 151.5 or 141.5, excuse me. So when I initially saw this game, I was watching Selection Sunday, as I'm sure all three of us were. I watched this game and I saw this matchup appear, and I'm like, the public is going to absolutely favor the hell out of Charleston. I just thought it was going to be the case. Everyone knows Charleston. Look at the record. They're 31-3 overall. I think that the public is going to be all over him. No, that's not the case. Actually, only 51% of the public is on Charleston right now. It's not a public play at all. One thing I've learned from watching a little bit of Charleston is they like to speed teams up a lot. They like to get them to play outside of their comfort zone. And they're a top 10 team in the country in terms of field goal percentage with 49.3, excuse me. San Diego State likes to play a little bit slower type of basketball. They only have one starter averaging double digits here. I know they always say like a 12-5 matchup. 12-5 always wins. And I know that's pretty chalk to say that, but I do think that happens here. I like Charleston +4.5. I also like them money line. I think they take down San Diego State, and that's going to be my play for this game.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that the 12-5 is something that everybody talks about every single season, that you got to get 12-5 in the March Madness. I think I have a couple on my bracket, and this was one of them. Charleston, like you said, they like to move the ball quickly up and down the floor. I think the over is in play here. Obviously, San Diego State could kind of slow it down, but as the 5 seed, as the favorite, I think they're going to kind of be more lenient in kind of accepting how Charleston will play. They probably will be thinking, you know, it's Charleston, like we can run with anybody. We're San Diego State, we're the 5 seed type of thing. So it could be a little bit of a shootout, especially since it's early in the tournament. Both teams are going to be excited to be there and play. It'll be interesting to see if Charleston kind of can live up to, you know, the big lights. Obviously, San Diego State's not a blue blood of any sort, so Charleston will probably have a little more confidence going up against the San Diego State rather than like a Kentucky or somebody like that who is, you know, having a down year. some would say. So I also have Charleston plus 4.5, and I would even consider the over in this one.
Well, we got our first difference here. This is a tough matchup for San Diego State. They are traveling to Orlando, which is relatively close to where Charleston's at in South Carolina, I believe.
Yep.
And it's an early tip-off. It's a bad spot for San Diego State. Saying that, San Diego State has I believe 7 seniors and 2 juniors. This team is very old. We had the whole COVID thing where everyone got to get another year. And it's allowed some of these mid-major teams that can keep their people, not through, don't lose them to the transfer portal. It can make these teams, significantly better than they've been in the past. And I think it's sort of bridged the gap a little bit between the top of the top and the mid-majors, the top powerhouse, Power 5 schools and your mid-majors. And I think the San Diego State team, I think they're a little dangerous this year. They got a lot of depth, and they play a slower game, as Kyle mentioned. This is a battle of pace. So if you could tell me this game's going to be played fast or slow, I would know exactly what to bet, because whoever wins the battle of the pace wins the game. So if San Diego State tries to slow it down and misses all of their shots and Charleston's able to run, it's going to get out of hand quick for San Diego State. Now, on the flip side, San Diego State slows it down, scores, and doesn't allow Charleston to get out and run and do what they want to do. And then on the flip side, Charleston's not able to, get going. And then San Diego State comes down, slows it down. It's going to be bad for Charleston. Nonetheless, I do not think this is the 12 that upsets the 5. And I'm sure that I will look back at this and think, who's the idiot who said that? It was me. But that is my feeling. I like San Diego State a lot. They play a very fundamental, simplistic game. They don't do more than they need to. So I like them. I actually kind of lean the under, because I think if you're going to bet Charleston, I think you have to go over. But if you're going to bet San Diego State, I think you have to go the under. Because if San Diego State's going to win, the under is going to hit. And if Charleston's going to win, the over is going to hit. So I'm not, no disrespect to your overplay. I think that's the right move if you're going Charleston. I'm going San Diego State, so I'm going the under.
I think that's perfect then for a better edge. Then, don't you think? Then I can bet on Charleston in the over, and you can bet on San Diego State in the under.
Exactly. We'll match each other. And now me and Polk, we have big bank accounts, so we'll go $1 billion a piece on both bets.
1 billion, absolutely.
I love it. Let's do it.
Oh, absolutely. I love it, boys. All right, let's move on to the 4-13 matchup between Virginia and Furman. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 11:40 on True TV. Virginia finished the regular season 25-7 overall, 15-5 in the ACC. They have quality wins over Baylor, Duke, and Clemson to get in. Furman, on the other hand, finished the regular season 27-7, 15-3 overall. They won the SoCon regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Line right now on Better Edge, we have Virginia minus 5.5 and an over-under of 132.5. Polk, go ahead and start us off for this game.
I think this one could be close. Now, I do think Virginia is going to win, but I would argue that Furman plus 5.5 could be a play here, and I think it's all going to depend on Virginia. They have, obviously, the history. Like I mentioned, they were the first number 1 seed to go down in the first round. Obviously, it's different guys there, but they have had to have heard about it. Virginia is that team that, that made that happen. So they're coming off a tough loss to Duke, I believe it was in the ACC championship game. That was a heck of a game. Duke just is deciding now that they're going to flip a switch and start playing really well the last couple of weeks. Can they bounce back and get a win over Furman? I think so. Will it probably be close? I can see that Virginia, just in my head, Virginia winning a close one against Furman. Everybody down the stretch thinking, oh my goodness, is Virginia going to do it again, lose to a 13th seed this time, with a little bit of hype headed into the tournament. But I think Virginia wins in a close one, but that means I'd probably take Furman plus 5.5.
The ACC is so bad. This is the worst ACC we've ever seen. It starts with obviously your blue bloods, Duke kind of being rough, turn it on at the end of the season, and UNC being just embarrassingly bad. And even Virginia not being that typical Virginia team we're used to seeing. Yeah, they went 25-7. That's just good coaching. They're a solid program, but it's not the same dominant team we've seen. I love Furman here. I think they not only cover, I think they actually win. They're in their last 15 games, they're 14-1 straight up. they just win. You know, they started out the season a little rough, and they ended the season 14-1. I think they're on like a 7-game win streak. I think this is a bad matchup for a Virginia team that struggles to score. They're just not good at scoring. The only way they win is by playing great defense. This is another one of those where if you're going to bet on Virginia, you might as well bet the under, and if you're going to bet on Furman, you might as well bet the over. Yeah, you got this. Like I talked about earlier with mid-major teams, you know, they have a lot of guys returning from last year. They have a lot of senior leadership. These mid-major teams that are able to keep their players are dangerous this year in the tournament. I'm all over Furman, and this is where I choose one of my upsets. I think they win.
All right, well, DJ, maybe you and I need to do an order on better edge here. I'm with Polk in the fact that I think this is going to be very, very close. I respect the hell out of Furman. They're averaging 80.4 points per game this season. That is unbelievable. You know, they got 4 starters averaging double digits, 2 of them averaging over 15.5 points per game. They're very, very solid offensively, but the best defense they've played this year is Appalachian State. So that's a big reason why they've scored as many points as they did. Virginia is a top 5 defense in the country this season, only allowing 60.3 points per game. I do think Furman keeps it really, really close. I do. But I think Virginia winning by 6, 7, 8, I think is very, very possible. So I'm actually going to differ from you, DJ. I like Virginia -5.5 here, but I can very well see why you and why a ton of other people who I've talked to likes Furman to beat Virginia. I think it's a very, very solid Paladins team. So that is our thoughts on that game. I'm going to move us here because we're kind of blocking the numbers. Don't like that. Hold on. People at home are probably geeking at me right now for how stupid I look.
He's an accountant, folks. He's not a technological guy. He's a numbers guy.
Whatever. You guys at home know the numbers. You can just listen and then you'll know it. All right, let's go on to the 6-11 match between Creighton and North Carolina State. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 3 o'clock on TNT. Creighton, as a 6th seed, finished the regular season 21-12, 14-6 in the Big East. They have very quality wins over Arkansas, Xavier, and UConn. For North Carolina State, they finished the regular season 23-10, 12-8 in the conference. They were a bubble team. People didn't know if they would have made it in the tournament. They did make it in. They didn't even have to do a playing game. They made it in straight up as an 11 seed. They have quality wins this year over Vanderbilt, Duke, and Miami, Florida. Line right now, we got Creighton -5 and an over-under of 148. DJ starts off for this game.
I just talked about how the ACC's trash, and now I'm going to make a case for NC State here. But I really, what is it? It's not the Atlantic Big East,
Yep.
Creighton. I know that the conference isn't real in football, but in basketball, it's still the Big East. I really don't like the Big East. I don't know why. I've just always had beef with them. NC State in the tournament, the biggest factor and the factor we've seen year after year is guard play. Guard play is everything. We've seen guys like Kemba Walker, Shabazz Napier, Michael Carter-Williams, Trey Burke carry teams with that guard play, with the ability to control the ball and dominate. And NC State has 2 baller guards, that Trey Quavian Smith and that Jarkel Joyner, both lighting it up this year. I think that's going to be the big factor here. And NC State they're more of a defensive-oriented team. So they do score a lot, though. I don't know. Yeah, they're a great scoring team as well. I don't know. I like NC State here. I really don't like Creighton. They don't have Doug McDermott, so I don't like them. You know, if they had Dougie, I would change my mind here, but they don't. I'm going NC State here. The ACC's back in this matchup. Another upset for me. 11 seed. Let's roll.
Well, I tell you what, DJ, you and I need to get on that better edge exchange right now. I'm going to differ from you once again. I like Creighton -5 here. Big East is actually very, very solid this year. They have a lot of talent within the conference. It's a very balanced scoring Creighton Blue Jays team. You know, they're averaging 76.6 points per game. All 5 starters are averaging double digits. Their leading scorer is their center, Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's averaging 15 points per game and 6 rebounds. They got that Baylor Shireman from South Dakota State. He has been massive for them this season. I like Creighton a lot, and I can see them going actually quite far beyond this beyond this game. So I'm going to differ from you, DJ, which is good because I like the differing opinions. I like Creighton -5.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm going against you as well. I'm with DJ here.
Let's go.
A little bit of bias here. You can see I'm wearing a Husker sweatshirt. I absolutely hate Creighton, but I've also watched Creighton this year lose to Nebraska in Omaha. They looked like the worst team in the history of college basketball. They were horrible. Nebraska beat them by 10, I believe. I think it was like 61-51 or something crazy like that. First time we've won in Creighton in a very long time. Just obliterated them. They were horrible. I hate Creighton, so there's obviously a little bit of bias there, so take it with a grain of salt. But NC State, like you mentioned, ACC has been bad this year, but I could see NC State winning this game. Creighton, I could also see them kind of going a ways, and then, I'm using the Nebraska beat Creighton, so we're technically in the Elite Eight right now argument as well. But I've seen Creighton play basketball once, and it was against Nebraska, and they looked horrible. So if they play even close to that in this game against NC State, then NC State's got a great chance to win. I've got the upset on my bracket, NC State over Creighton. Like I said, a little bit of bias there. I don't want to see Creighton succeed at all, but I also do think there's a very good chance that NC State wins this game.
All right. Very good. So we got differing opinions there, but that's all right. All right, let's go on now to the 3-14 match between the number 3 seed Baylor Bears and the number 14 seed UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 12:30 p.m. Central Time on TNT. Baylor finished the regular season 22-10, 11-7 in the Big 12. They have quality wins over UCLA, Gonzaga, Kansas, and Texas. Whereas UC Santa Barbara, they won the Big West, conference tournament to get the automatic bid. They defeated the 3 seed UC Riverside and the 4 seed Cal State Fullerton to get the automatic bid. They finished the regular season 27-7 overall, 15-5 in the conference. The line right now, we have Baylor -10.5 and an over-under of 144. So when I'm looking at this game betting, I'm looking at it from a fact that Baylor is averaging 77 points per game. They have 4 starters averaging double digits. Obviously, that Keontae George is their go-to guy. He has been playing. Obviously, after battling that injury, he hasn't been the same himself. So I'm wondering if that break maybe helped him a little bit. That Flagler and Cryer, also very, very solid players for Baylor. They're going to score a lot of points. Meanwhile, UC Santa Barbara, they're a top 10 team in the country in terms of field goal percentage. They're shooting 49.3% from the field. They're 20-12 on the over. Their leading scorer, Jay Mitchell, is averaging 16.3 points per game. I like the over a lot in this game. I think this is a very doable over. A couple 70-point games, I think, is very, very possible in this matchup. I like that a lot. So I'm going to take the over of 144 in this game.
Yeah, Baylor is a 3 seed, but it still kind of feels like they're a little bit underrated in this bracket. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Baylor. Now, obviously, I think it's because they lost to who I think was Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament. But we talked about the Big 12. Yeah, we talked about the Big 12 being the best conference in basketball, so anything can happen in that tournament. Baylor coming in as a 3 seed, I think it is, like I said, it's weird to say they're a sleeper at a 3 seed, but I think Baylor is one of those teams that is going to kind of be able to kind of flip the switch. They've been here before. They've been in the tournament and had success. So -10.5 is a lot of points for a first round game, but I think I might take Baylor here at -10.5 and kind of be like hey, don't forget about us. You're talking about Texas because of the Big 12 champs. Talking about Kansas, are they going to repeat? Talking about Iowa State because Iowa State is like an 8 seed, I believe. And they beat Iowa 6 seed and they beat Baylor, but I could see Baylor just absolutely getting a blowout here and being like, hey, we've been here before, we know what we're doing, we're back to make another run at things.
The big thing I look at here is pace of play. Both of these teams are outside the top 250. That means there are 250 teams that play faster than both of these teams. In saying that, I think the under is kind of the move, betting wise. On top of that, I like I like UCSB, baby. Give me the Santa Barbara. In a slow game, I think that favors a big spread, like whoever has the plus of a big spread. I think Baylor wins this game. They're just a better team. Big 12 all day long. There's no way Baylor loses. But if you want to, you want me to bet on it, I'm gonna take Santa Barbara all day. Two very slow paced teams that are gonna slow it down, and stylistically they're gonna play the same. And so I think that favors the under, and I think that favors the big spread. Baylor will control and dominate this game, but that doesn't mean they'll cover 10.5. Yeah, it's wild how slow these two teams play, but nonetheless, it unders the move.
I think DJ has in his notes whatever Kyle has. I'm just gonna fade it.
I ain't trying to. We didn't do it on the first one. It just happened to be the next three were just all instant.
Nope. It's all good. I like the differing opinions. I think that's good stuff. And that means that one of us is going to be successful, which I appreciate as well.
It's true.
All right, let's move on to the bottom of the bracket. Towards the bottom, we have the 7-10 matchup between the 7 seed Missouri Tigers and the 10 seed Utah State Aggies. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 12:40 p.m. Central Time on TNT. Missouri finished the regular season 24-9 overall, 11-8 in the conference. They have quality wins over Iowa State, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Meanwhile, Utah State finished the regular season 26-8, 13-5 in the Mountain West. They have quality wins over Oral Roberts and Boise State. They were also a runner-up finisher in the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Line right now, we have Utah State -1.5 and an over-under of 155. Polk, I believe, starts off this game.
Sure. This is one that I've got on my bracket, Utah State. If you ask why, I'll tell you I don't know why. I'm just not very confident in Missouri. Why? I don't know. This is one of those games it's a 10-7. It's a close, basically a pick 'em 1.5 points spread. I think it's kind of one of those games that you can get away with, bragging about it being an upset for you as a 10 seed in Utah State. So keep it simple. I don't really know a whole lot about either side, so I'm going Utah State 10 seed. Now, I guess they are a favorite at 1.5, but as a seed, it's an upset. So -1.5 for Utah State.
This one was tough. I think Polk kind of alluded to that. The Aggies are a good team. They're a solid team. But Missouri is due. They have lost 5 straight tournament games. It's 2010 since they won a tournament game. They are due. They are overdue. Like a book to the library. They are overdue to win a game. And this Missouri team's talented. They're very talented. They played Alabama relatively close and then got blown out at the end. And Alabama's a solid squad. I think Missouri is far more athletic than Utah State. I think Utah State may be more fundamental, more veteran. They have those older guys. But I'm gonna go with the high flying Missouri team. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go with the young guns. I'm choosing the more athletic team in the better conference is really what I'm doing here. Utah State did not play the same gauntlet that Missouri did. Give me SEC over the Mountain West all day long.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I was with you guys too when I was prepping for the show. I was contemplating this one for a while there. It's kind of a coin flip for me. I can see either team winning. And I think if you're a guy who fills out like multiple brackets and different ones for every single one, I can see you flipping these two on a bunch of your brackets because I do think either one wins. To me, it comes down to who's a more efficient shooting team, and Utah State is one of the most efficient teams in the country in terms of shooting. They shoot 47.5% from the field and 38.5% from three. I think efficient shooting goes far in March Madness. So once again, DJ, I'm going to go against you, and I'm going to join Polk, and I like Utah State -1.5. They're obviously, like you said, a favorite for betting, but it's an upset in terms of the tournament. So I like Utah State to pull off the upset. And then to round out the south region of the bracket, we have the 2 seed Arizona Wildcats taking on the 15 seed Princeton Tigers. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 3:10 p.m. Central Time on TNT. Arizona finished the regular season 27-6, 14-6 in the Pac-12. They won the Pac-12 tournament over number 1 seed UCLA to get the automatic bid. Meanwhile, Princeton finished the regular season 20-8 overall, 10-4 in the Ivy League. They won the Ivy League Conference tournament, defeating the top seeded Yale to get the automatic bid. Line right now, we have Arizona minus 14.5 and an over-under of 154. DJ starts off for this game.
I bet so much on Princeton in that Yale game. I watched the whole game. Princeton, very fundamental. Very, very fundamental. I also bet a decent chunk on Arizona. Very talented as well. This is a tough 14 is right where it's tough. Like Princeton's so good, like probably one of the better 15 seeds we've ever seen. I know some 15 seeds have ended up winning, whatever. Mercer against Duke, I don't care. Florida Gulf Coast, yeah. This Princeton team's really talented, but Arizona is just so much more athletic and just better. It just is what it is. Arizona will win this game. I'm going to go on a flyer here and say Princeton covers. I think the fundamentalness of Princeton, Ivy League teams are weird in the tournament. They get things done every now and then. So I think Princeton covers, Arizona wins. No idea on the over-under. Yeah, no idea. But Princeton to cover.
Okay, sounds good. So you know me, I'm a big Ivy League basketball guy. Also watched the Ivy League championship game, that entire one. I did have a lot on Princeton as well, so it was good to see them. They actually are kind of weird. Their point guard is a 6'8" forward named Tosan Ibumo. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but he averages 14 points per game and 4.8 assists per game. He's a forward leading the Ivy League in assists. So it's a pretty talented Princeton team, but Arizona, they have that Tabellis, who's averaging almost 20 and 10. I mean, very, very talented. He's going to be, I'm pretty sure he is an All-American. They also have Omar Ballo, who's averaging 14 and 8, and Courtney Ramey, who was unbelievable in that Pac-12 championship game. He played very, very solid. I think DJ is right. I think it is about right where it needs to be at 14. But if I have to, I'm going to pick Arizona to win, obviously, but I got to ride with my Ivy League team school. So DJ, we're actually in agreement for this one. I'm taking Princeton plus 14.5.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think we're all three going to be on the same boat in this one. Arizona, obviously, I think going to win this game. Princeton has enough to cover 14.5 points, and like I talked about when we started off the show with Bama, the first round games, Arizona's, they always talk about not overlooking these first round games because upsets do happen in March Madness. But if you're Arizona, you're probably, it's just human nature to think like this is our year. We think we're going to win it all. We're the number 2 seed. So they may come out a little bit slow against Princeton. So I could see it being a little bit of a game up until about halfway through the second half. And then Arizona kind of pulling away a little bit, getting it to 15-16. Princeton coming back here late in the game, cutting it to, 11, 10 points. And Arizona ending up with a easy win, but under 14.5. So I'm also going to go with Princeton. And boys, we got a game going on right now. Obviously, when this comes out, this will be over with. But Texas A&M Corpus Christi and Southeast Missouri State right now, it's a 2-point game with Texas A&M Corpus Christi at the free throw line for one more to make it a 3-point game. So Bama waiting to see who's going to win this. But March Madness starting off with the first game, and we could get a little bit of a overtime right here, maybe.
Maybe no, sir.
Yep, there's my step back
sir.
3,
Yep.
missed it short. So there's still 1.5 seconds left, but looks like Texas A&M Corpus Christi is going to come away with the win.
Yep, they just got to make one free throw. But gentlemen, to kind of put a bow on the South region, let's each one of us give our prediction for who's going to win the South region. Who do you have going to the Final Four? I'll start for me personally. Everybody and their dog has Alabama, understandably so. Miller's playing phenomenal and stuff like that. I actually think the more well-rounded team in this end of the bracket, teams with talent everywhere, is Arizona. So I'm actually going to take Arizona as my pick to win the South to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I've got Bama, like everybody else, basically. I'm using the bracket that's in front of me that I may or may not have filled out about 20 minutes before the podcast. But I do have Bama in my South region. I actually have Arizona losing to Baylor, like we talked about before. Baylor kind of being one of the sneaky teams. So I have Bama and Baylor, and I've got Bama in the Final Four.
Yeah, it's chalk. It's lame. It's not fun, but it's Bama. They're just the way they ran through the SEC, and though the SEC may not be the best basketball conference, they are one of the most athletic basketball conferences. I think you could make the case that the SEC or the Pac-12 is the most athletic. That doesn't always translate towards success, but we saw when Oregon played Iowa that one year that athleticism can really factor into a game. So I got to go Bama here. They're just good, man. Like it's just there's really no other way to put it. They're just good at all levels. They have scores, they have length, they have size, they can run, they can slow it up. They play insane defense. Like they do it all. They really don't have any real weakness other than maybe a pending legal case. Like honestly. So yeah, I'm all on Bama.
All right. Very good. Well, that will put a bow on the South region.